all 6 numbers here, all 6 numbers there. And here we will have our sums. So if we have a 6 by 6 grid, how many total possibilities will we have?
Wouldn't it be 36?
Yeah, good, Chloe. Okay. Now, there are 2 possible ways to do this. We could literally go through and do 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and say, like, I could roll a 1 and a 1. I could roll a 1 and a 2. I could roll a 1 and a 3, and on and on and on. But do we want to do that? No. It's going to take forever to write out all 36 pairs. But if we write them in the table, it's a little bit more simple. The labels are kind of already there. So we're going to have die 1 here, die 2 here. Okay. So rolling a 1 and a 1 would give us a 2. Okay. 1 and a 2 gives us a 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're adding 2 to all these numbers. So we would get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and we would keep doing this all the way down, and you would start to notice that there's a pattern where all the diagonals are the same value. So we can just fill it in this way. Okay, there isn't always necessarily going to be a pattern, but most of the time, if you're doing something like this. And you can, oops, go back and double check. Okay. We have all of the possible sums here. And we can find all the ways we can get 6. So we highlight all the squares where we have 6s. And we see that 5 and 1, 4 and 2. Okay, we could figure out all the possible ways and we can write them down. We have 1 and 5, 2 and 4, 3 and 3, 4 and 2, and 5 and 1. Okay. With this example, I can see a lot of you guys being like, well, I can just do that in my head. I can think of all the possible ways. That's okay, but there will be scenarios where it's a lot more difficult to think of all the combinations, and it would be really easy to miss one. So even though I am 100% positive that you guys are smart, intelligent, and capable enough to think of it in your head, I still want you to practice with the simple examples. Okay, so our N of A is the number of ways we can get the sum of 6, which happens to be 5 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different combinations. N of U is the sample space, that's every possibility. There were 36 sums that we could get, which means that P of A is going to be 5 over 36. What questions do you guys have so far? Okay, I do want to talk through the last little bit, one more real quick before we go, right? We can also illustrate possible outcomes, not just in a grid. Well, we can do a 2D grid or we can do tree diagrams. Tree diagrams are what we're going to focus on, okay? So it says illustrate the possible outcomes when 2 coins are tossed. So with a tree diagram, we could have heads or tails. Once we roll a head, we could have heads or tails. And once we roll a tail, we could have heads or tails. Okay, so this shows us how to do that. We could also do this with a 2D grid. It's pretty similar. So we could have tails or heads. Okay. And then here we could have gotten tails or heads. And these intersections in the grid represent each of the ways that we could get. So we could have tails, tails, heads, tails, tails, heads, and heads, heads. Okay, so those are two different ways, two more ways to represent possible outcomes in a particular scenario. Questions on those? And then to get the tree diagram outcomes, you would just run along each possible branch. So we could get heads, heads. Ah, my phone buzzed. We could get heads, tails. We could get tails, heads. Or we could get tails, tails. And those would be the sample space. Sorry for my ugly curly bracket. Okay, what questions do you guys have? So it is 9:46, so I've held you over a minute longer. I will let you go. Please start looking at the tree diagram stuff today. Maybe at least do the first problem. I'm going to change the due date since we didn't get to our tree diagram notes. So you'll have extra time to do it. I also think that works out since your math analysis is due on Thursday. If you have questions about the math analysis, please stay after so we can talk about it. This is a big deal. It's a big assignment. It's much bigger than the topic proposal. I was fairly disappointed with you guys, well, with not everybody's, but a lot of people's effort on the topic proposal. I felt like you guys didn't really take it seriously. Please take this math analysis seriously because I'm not going to tolerate much on this, okay? You guys know what's expected of you. Also, typically, if you do not turn in each of these sections of your IA on time, you do not do well on your final IA, okay? I broke it up for a reason to help you guys out. So I really need you guys to participate and go along with that. I will let you all go. I'm changing the due date on the graded assignment. It will not be due on Thursday. So you'll have some extra time to do that, but please do your homework and make sure your math analysis is good, okay? All your math for your IA needs to be in there. I will post this video and also the scan of the document we took for notes today on Canvas. And if you are good to go, then you are free to leave. If you have questions, please stay on for a minute. And Brianna, if you'll stay on for a minute too, you're not in trouble. I just have a question. Okay, so see you guys and wish me luck at my appointment today. I really wish we could have done the poll thing. I'll let you guys know on Thursday though. Okay, Brianna, your rec letter, where do you want me to send it?
Taylor said that